Good evening from the Arizona desert. My name is Tom, and I'm out here in Phoenix, Arizona, and these are the nightly DoorDash numbers from the desert. Today is Monday, and yesterday I took the day off, as I had told you, for vehicle maintenance. And it turns out the dealership that I usually go to is now closed on Sundays. So I had to go to Plan B. I had some coupons from a previous vehicle that I used to have the vehicle maintained over at Cobblestone Car Wash. And it's kind of like a all in one location. They do oil changes and minor servicing and stuff along those lines. So we went through that process, got new wiper blades, which is good because today it rained for a little bit, so it was nice to have some fresh blades on the glass. And when I was done with the oil change, all of a sudden the vehicle would not start. The dash lit up like a Christmas tree. Brake problem, hill start problem, just all sorts of things were cycling through. The tire pressure monitor, all these alarms started going off on the dash. Not audible, but just visual, references of problems. Check engine light came on, and it was like, whoa, what's going on? So they checked the battery and they said that I have a bad cell, but they said that they cannot replace the battery, not them, but I cannot replace that battery without causing major damage to my vehicle, and I'll lose everything on my computer. And to me, that just did not make sense. After 35 years of driving and vehicle repairs that usually I did myself and that type of stuff. But then again, technology is changing, right? So this was really a good lesson in trust but verify. Get a second opinion. Get the correct answer instead of just hearsay from somebody, because things just didn't make sense. My head started tweaking, my eyes started twitching, you know. And it's just like, all right, well, this was probably the best day that it could have happened because I had the entire day to try and solve the problem. So we finally got the car to start, and it started, and we decided that I was just going to pull it forward before going through the free car wash, and just let the alternator charge everything up. So I'm sitting here wondering if it's because of all the electronics that I'm putting inside of the vehicle, and I've got a cigarette lighter that now splits into 3 cigarette ports, and I didn't know if that was staying on all night long instead of shutting off when the engine shut off. And I didn't know if maybe I need to rethink my current setup. And sat there, took a nap in the parking lot, sat there for a couple of hours, let the car run, woke up, still the same exact problem. We all agreed that it was probably still safe to drive the car, so I took it down to AutoZone to have them take a look at the vehicle. And when they took a look at the vehicle, the when they took a look at the vehicle, a gentleman in a red shirt, one of the employees, looked at it, put it on there. He said my battery was fine and that it was my starter that had a problem. And he told me the same exact thing. He's like, you can't change out that battery without causing problems, and they aren't a shop, so they couldn't do it, where normally they would install the battery on your behalf. And so, again, I'm just kind of tweaking. I go in and I find a gray shirt gentleman, a manager at the shop. He comes on out with the test tool, puts in a different code than what the red shirt employee put in. The red shirt employee put in a number 500 instead of 410 for the battery. Now, granted, I'm driving a Honda CRV hybrid, and that's where this tentative part of you can't change out the battery comes in. While talking to him after he tested, he says, no, your battery is bad. No, it's not because of your stuff. It's probably one of the original batteries, or fairly old battery. So let's go ahead and replace the battery. Yes, you can replace the battery on a Honda CRV. It's things like Teslas and Priuses and stuff like that that you have to do some special step in order to be able to change out the battery, not on a hybrid vehicle or a standard vehicle. So it was just nice to have somebody with knowledge go through and give me the proper advice, put the battery in. Lights and stuff were still on. He said just drive it for about 20 minutes or so. So I went to a couple of the merchants where I knew I could go and fill up my water. Merchants on our platform, and just places where if I broke down, I knew I could eat, I could be comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. So I went to Barrow's Pizza, went there, and drove it around for a little bit longer, and all of a sudden, all the lights started going off. Off, not like alert. They were going off, and the dash was looking normal as though nothing ever happened. So the battery was the problem, it was the culprit. So yesterday was a really good day. And now, today, lo and behold, started early, finished late, like I tell everybody that they need to do. And I didn't decline a single order. Look at that, 49 out of 49. There was probably 3 orders that I normally wouldn't have taken. One was an add-on for 285 with 0 miles because it was en route going out of the zone and into another zone. I'm like, what the hell? Let's just go ahead and take it. And then 2 late at night after 1 o'clock in the morning that were enough to pay me to get out to the destination with no restaurants. Everything shuts down. There's only like 4 or 5 locations that are open in my zone after like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I took a couple of jobs that were slightly upside down, what everybody else would call upside down. They paid properly. They bought enough time in my system to get me to the destination, but then they were dead miles coming back. So, but then again, it's kind of like, well, what else are you going to do? You're just going to sit, take a chance of falling asleep, take a chance of the app not actually shutting down and putting you on automatic pause and, dinging you for, 9 acceptance rates. I know for some individuals that doesn't mean anything to them. They're willing to let their acceptance rate go down to 0. I am not. So this is our total because this is the first day of the week, 540.24, 49 out of 49 deliveries, the total of 21 and a half hours out here driving today. Let's go take a look at the other ratings. Going to our ratings here, more than likely there's some on-time stuff. Oh, no. You got, what is that? 95 acceptance rate, 100% completion, 100% acceptance rate, 4.94 customer rating, 1150 for 30 days, and 49,052. We have crossed over the 49,000 barrier and starting to approach that 50,000 club. So yeah, today was a good day. I'm going to go home, go straight to bed. I'm not even going to fill up gas tonight, although I did see gas went up, I think, another 20 cents. I think it might be around $4.35 here in the valley. So I would advise you don't worry about that. If you're concerned about gas prices, you really just don't count the pennies when you're chasing after the dollars. You get all the tax write-offs. You're in a cash flow position, and I would not worry about the gas. People that don't know how to run a business will focus on that gas price and say, well, I don't know that this is worth it. Maybe I need to go get a W-2 job. And I'm telling you that when you're talking about an extra, say it went up 30 cents and you put in, 10 gallons, you're talking about an extra $3. It's not that much. And, if I slapped a $20 bill on the table and said, if I put the 20 down, you're going to give me, $500, wouldn't you do it? Well, how about 23 for 500? Would you do that? How about 40 for 500? Would you do that? So stop and think this through. It's not as bad as you think. You would do that in a heartbeat every single time. So hopefully you had a good day. Hopefully you're listening, and hopefully you're starting early, ending late. Hopefully you're calculating for time to see if the offer is actually a good job or an upside down offer. And hopefully you're figuring out what your time is for a per mile rate. So, for instance, for me, every mile city driving is 2 minutes per mile. Of course, freeway driving is 1 minute per mile. And use that in the calculation in order to figure out if it's a $15 an hour job, a $20 an hour job, or totally upside down. And I think once you do that, you'll see that you're taking more offers, you're making the system happy, you're going to start getting better jobs, and you'll start piling up cash. So, and when you pile up the cash, hopefully you're taking my advice and you're focusing on getting out of debt. So, right now we're in this challenge with Hustle CLE. Great group of guys over there. Love bantering with them. In no way am I saying I'm the authority on how DoorDash works. I found what works for me in my market. I'm advising you possibly to test that and tweak it inside of your market and see if you can get some good results. Ultimately, you put in the time, you move the product, you're going to get paid, and you're going to pile up a bunch of wins. So that's our focus. And then what we do with those wins, we leverage it to get ourselves out of debt to make our dollars stronger. So I'm heading home, and I'm going to be back out on the road in about 2 hours. So I will see you then, and let's go for success.